Tried to do this a couple times before. It didn't go very well. So we're learning on the fly and we're trying it again. Um, Slide on. There we go. So yeah, my name's Garrett. I'm the CTO of a startup called Masterfile. And today we are speed running a AI SaaS product. I challenged myself on Twitter, on X, that using a lot of these new AI tools, that you could probably build by yourself a fully functional and featured SaaS product in a weekend. Um, yeah, using these AI tools. And so we're going to try to build something that I have found I need in my day-to-day work. And that is a way to compare the accuracy and results of prompts, AI prompts. So there's a tool from Anthropic in their workbench that does something very similar, that you can like um, create a prompt, you can give it like input parameters that you pass it. You can create some test cases with different input values. You can compare the outputs of those. You can give them a score. So this is all good. We use this a lot, but you can't compare between different models or different model providers. So for instance, one thing we want to do is figure out, do we need to use the full size model, or can we get away with a mini model? Um, and then is, say, ChatGPT better at this than Claude? So those are the things that we're trying to go after and try to compare and get some good examples and turn prompt guessing into actual prompt engineering. So we started on this yesterday. I will walk you through where we got so far. So far it's just this dashboard here. We have a, ooh, I should probably start it. Um, we just have a list of prompts, and um, now we're adding the kind of allowing different versions of the prompts over time, different test cases, different models, that kind of stuff. So in terms of tech stack that we're using, we are using Next.js for kind of hosting all of our the server, front end, everything all in one. We're going to be deploying it and using SST for local development and also deployment, which is a great infrastructure as code tool that is a great local development for serverless. If you're building serverless stuff, especially in TypeScript or JavaScript, you basically should be using this tool. So that's that. And then we're going to be using Cursor for our IDE here. It's basically VS Code with some additional AI features built in that we're going to try to leverage as much as possible to try to speed us along. Other tools that we've used is V0 by Vercel, which is a really good like front end generator. So you can see here, I used it yesterday to kind of just wireframed out this basic interface and then threw it into here, and it kind of like fully wired it up for us, and then you can just copy and paste this code. What else are we using? We planned out our database schema, or at least the bare bones of it, using this Postgres.new, which is a tool by Supabase that you can basically just chat with your SQL table, and it can add, columns, tables, all that good stuff. Another thing that we're going to be referencing is this terminal code base, terminal.shop, this is actually by the team behind SST as well. They use that as kind of a dog food for their latest version, and it's really cool. It's a coffee shop that you buy stuff from the terminal. But there's a lot of great stuff, both just using SST, which is great, and also just great kind of domain-driven design-based software development. So we're going to be using a lot of that here as well. All right. I also found some cool stuff about prompt engineering from the Anthropic docs. So we are going to be referencing this as well. So let's jump into it. So the first thing that I want to do is, let's go back to our thing here. So you can see we just have a basic table. We're going to come back and add styling and all that good stuff at the end here. And so you can come in and view your prompt here. We need a loading state as well. We got to be able to add multiple versions. But here we have like a prompt version, which is actual content of the prompt. And that's associated with which models are enabled for this, and then the different test cases that we have here. So, and then you can see that we're evaluating these test cases across our models that we've added. So we add here, you can see we haven't evaluated these yet. So that is what we are working on right now. One big test case I want to use for cursor actually is doing a big refactor, because if we can see here, this is roughly our database schema, but you can see here that our test cases are only associated with a prompt version, meaning that each prompt version has its own set of test cases. And originally we did this because maybe you could change the input parameters between versions, like one version may only have 2 parameters and then you add an extra parameter. But that's adding a lot of complexity. Like say we want to add the next version of our prompt, we basically have to duplicate all these test cases, and then say if you're on version 3 and you add a test case to that prompt version, you have to like backwards propagate that same test case for all the previous versions as well. So that's just adding a lot of complexity. So what I think I'm going to do for this initial MVP version is move, you can see these inputs, which are really input keys, which if we go look in our code here, you can see that there's these like brackets basically here. So we are going to move that list of input keys into the prompt. So once you make a new prompt, it's going to pull those input keys, and if you want to make a prompt with different input parameters, you can go just generate a whole new prompt, and maybe we'll add like a duplicate feature here that you can edit that from and copy over everything. But that's just going to save us a lot of complexity, and from my experience, I think too, you kind of know generally what your inputs are going to be for a prompt, whether that's like examples if you're going to do few shot prompting, or just user inputs, things like that. So that's what we're going to do, that big refactor, and we're going to try to do it. So the way I've been using Quad so far, or Cursor so far, is just kind of telling it step by step what I would do. So we'd start maybe like at the database level, write the database query, put that in the API layer, then call that from the front end. We're going to try to just have it do a big refactor. Let me make sure I committed everything, and we're going to see how this goes. So we're going to go to our context here. Let's open it in the control panel. And we're going to end up running this over our entire code base. So what do we want to say? Say I am planning to do a large refactor. I would like to change the association. Let's see, change the test cases to reference a prompt instead of a prompt version. This will allow us to keep consistent test cases across versions. Please refactor, including the database, PWC API layer, and front end. Sure. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to Control Shift enter, so it's going to run it over our entire code base. It's going to search for all of the files that it needs. I don't know if that's enough files, but we will see what it goes for. So in our schema here, let's remove the version from the test cases, that's good. And it also moved it from our kind of internal backend. I guess this isn't backend, this is kind of our domain model of our test case, which is good. Now we're getting our test cases. It also removed it from there. That's good. Same thing with creating test cases. And it did add the version to evaluate, which is good. So we're gonna have to add the prompt version to each evaluation, which is gonna be something new. And here, what did we update? So in our router, we got get by prompt, which is good. So we're just getting all of our test cases for a single prompt. Same thing with create. Same thing with evaluate, which we should probably just rename this to evaluate. And it's adding a version here, so that's good. Get by prompts. Okay, I like that. Dang, did this just one-shot this? That's impressive. Let's go try it. We might have to create a new prompt. We're also going to have to run our database. Let's just accept all. And minimize this and go push our database changes. This might yell at us. Smooth column. Now, we are also, I'm not sure about the interface for this kind of like floating thingy, and I don't think you can dock it anywhere. So I might just like put it down here for the composer example here. Okay, so our evaluation is going to have to reference a model version. Let's add that too. Please add a reference to prompt and version to each evaluation. If they will not be specific to a prompt version. Good. I'm not sure 100% about using a compound primary key or if we should just add indexes. I think we should probably just add an index. We're going to do that. We'll come back and add indexes later. I've had trouble before with Drizzle using Drizzle push, that if you add an index, it like, and then remove it later or something like that, it doesn't keep it quite in sync. So we're going to not do that for now, and we'll come back and add those optimizations later. That looks good. In this case. That's weird change. Anyway, we're getting now. These are test cases, so we want evaluations. Selecting those, looks good. Well, the thing is, we don't want to do multiple evaluations per prompt. We just want one. So maybe it does make sense to do a compound key there. Keep that. It's just going to be easier. Not sure about from a performance perspective, but we will see how it goes. I think in our we have we not? I guess we haven't selected a evaluations repo yet. Okay, so we'll have to add those updated things, but no, this is looking pretty good. What's upset in here? What are we missing now? Probably version. Okay. So we're gonna have to deal with this later, but the tricky thing in comparison, so we haven't really got to the comparison stuff yet. But we're gonna want to do kind of a three-dimensional comparison. We want to compare the each prompt. So we have our prompt and our versions of that prompt. So that's one axis of like v1, 2, 3. Then we want to, for each of those prompts, we want to compare, I guess for inside of one prompt, we want to compare that prompt across different models. So like sending prompt number 1 or version 1 to GPT 4.0 versus Quad Sonnet. So that's, we want to compare the outputs of those. And then we also want to compare the outputs of one model across versions. So like, how does version 1 with Claude compare to version 2 with Claude? That's kind of, you can kind of see how that's going to get tricky. So we'll have to play around with how we want that comparison interface to look like. But let's try to push this again since we made some changes. See if that yells at us. Evaluation. We're just going to, since we're in development, we don't really have that much data. We're just going to drop this and add it again. I love Drizzle and I love not using migrations, but there are some downsides. But that's okay. We're just developing. It's all fake anyway. Yeah, I really need a loading state here. That might be the next thing we do. And a loading state here. Adding. We have our page here. Is this going to be mad at us? Okay. Version there anymore. Table. Test case evaluations. Okay, so we are pulling. We haven't added the ability to make new versions yet, but when we do, we can. It should update what's in here as well. Let's just make sure this is still working. I do need to clean up this UI element too, this kind of optimistic update. Right now, we're just, instead of optimistically updating the front end, we are just refetching or like invalidating, and that's why you see that. I may try to do this with server actions. I think that would be interesting. But right now we're just speedrunning, so we're just trying to go fast. Not trying to use all the latest. I'm trying to use the latest AI tools and not the latest other tech stuff that is cool, but I don't have as much experience with. I have a lot of experience using like server-side rendering, using the async components, but not so much server actions and things like that. So I think that was pretty successful. So just thinking that probably would have taken me an hour to do that refactor, and we did it in, I don't know, 10 minutes. So that's a whatever 5 times improvement. Pretty crazy. So I think we're on track. All right, now what do we need to do next? We need to add factor pieces. I also need to test out. I know there's a way to like AI generate. Maybe that's just a Copilot thing. You can like AI generate your commit messages. That'd be fun. Okay, what's next? We need to, when we generate a prompt, we need to extract. Let's look our schema. So right now we have input keys on our prompt version, and we need to put that on our prompt. So let's go and add that again to cursor. Move input keys from version to prompt. So that should pull that here. I should just see when it's extracting. So these prompt keys are like input variables, like the names that we're going to be replacing in our prompts with whatever the actual input parameters are. So what all? Please change how we are saving these keys when we create new prompt. Because that should have pulled it from in here somewhere. Yeah. And it also needs to move it in here. Let's see if it does that. This one's not as good. We have our get input keys here already. Maybe it just, that might be like a streaming thing because it didn't see this before it tried to import it. So maybe if we move this to the top of our file here. Prompt version. We need to go back to our model here. We need to just move there. We should fix most of that. Really feel like Claude should, Cursor should have picked that up, which I guess it's using Claude under the hood. So this is gonna slightly limit being able to update, like I said, being able to update the input parameters. But that's okay. What are you upset about? Do we have the actual prompt? What are we doing here? Evaluating? What if we just do prompt up get? Everyone now to get the prompt version. Okay. This should be prompt up right now. All right. The reason it's prompt.value is we are using this. Where is this from? Never throw library, which I covered in the last video, but it wasn't a very good video. So anyway, never throw basically turns or treats errors as values. So that way you can see we're returning from here a result case, which has a like an OK and an error type. So if you've ever used Rust before, the programming language, that's basically how Rust works. And it's just really nice because it kind of forces you to handle the error case rather than just kind of panicking or whatever, freaking out, crashing whenever you throw an error. So that's what you can see here whenever we're doing our freepo.get here. That's returning this result. Now, the tricky thing is we may need to refactor this some more because we're also using our kind of use transaction hook here, which it's kind of a server-side hook, and it's using a context for this transaction. So if you know React context where you kind of provide a globally available state, it's doing the same thing, but on the server side. And so we're putting our database transaction in here. So this use transaction should create a new transaction or just create a new database entry if there isn't an existing transaction, or if there is an existing transaction, it should create, it should use that existing, like kind of add on to that existing transaction. So the problem is that this get is calling a create transaction, so it's probably going to start, let's look in here. Okay, so even if it's calling create, it should use the same transaction. If there is one. And if not, it creates a new one. Okay, so let's go back to our test case here. This should be create transaction. Which I guess, knowing that now, probably all of our publicly available functions should call create transaction. And all of our internal functions, which we don't have any yet, should call use transaction. I think that's a good model. We'll have to go check. I got this pattern from the terminal.shop repo. So we'll have to go check and see if that's what they use. If that's kind of the pattern that they use. Okay, I think we're good here. The other thing I want to do is evaluate. We might refactor this because I want the ability to evaluate all. So say we go in here, we can see we have a bunch of that are unvalidated or unevaluated for each model or for each prompt. And I want to just like have a button here that says evaluate all, and it just triggers all of these. But that's going to be a bit tricky. So for now, we're just going to fire off. Interesting. Okay. Why are you now yelling at me? What does our... I don't think we have any database pushes that we still need to do we? Oh, we do. Oh, that's right. We didn't change the input keys. All right, let's go start over. This UI up here is probably pretty temporary, although I do like this little ghost animation here. It kind of fits the name of this product is called Prompt Weaver, so we may use that. I kind of want to remove this and generate this using AI maybe. That'd be cool. And then for content, I also want to show how to put input parameters. in here. And I also want to highlight them whenever you create them. So let's actually add that. Let's go to our new page. I also wish it would default to referencing all open editors instead of just the like 2 files you have active. Correct. We want to add a note to the user that they can specify enough input and tracking also add a list of the current recognized input. We'll see how that goes. We'll probably need to, I know we have that utility function for extracting the input keys. So we'll probably want to reuse that here, which is why it's in our core package. Let's see how far this gets us. So you also need to like deduplicate humanity. This needs to be in a case. Now we'll go copy our prompt from here. Drop that in here. Now we have our, where do we put that? I think it was in here, right? There we go. Put that in our domain model here, domain namespace. And now we can do prompts. Yeah. Nice. And we should be able to reuse that. There. Hmm. It doesn't seem like that's forking. Why are you like this? We have our matches here, which that looks correct. Oh, is it just in our front end that we're not doing this? Ah, it is. Okay. Problem is, it doesn't update. And I'm not sure why you're not updating. It should be calling the watch. Hmm. I don't know why that's not triggering. Because it should be calling this on update. Well, now it is. But that's only when it like re-renders. Does that mean it's not updating when I type? So strange. Wait, over here. I feel like that should be triggering something new happening here. Oh, do I just need to? Interesting, okay. I just need to not focus on it. All right, I see. Because it doesn't change until. See, that should update it, right? Why does that not update? I'm so confused. Don't understand. Hmm. That's because it's not watching. I thought I was using watching. There we go. I'm just an idiot. All right. On to the next thing. Nice. Now, where should we put this? Probably above. I'm not sure where we should list. I guess it will show in the table here. Hmm. Test case table. Where is our input keys? Where it's coming from? There's our input. There we go. You should be our prompt. Yes, yes. But we also need to add a better loading state. So let's do that. Okay. Reset this. Prompt page. See what it comes back with. This has happened to me a couple times. The only way that I've found to fix it is to just reload VS Code. And I don't know if it's like a cursor is hitting some kind of API limit, or because I have good internet. I have really good internet. Let's try again. Page. Yeah, one thing that would be really, really cool is to start doing this with some local models. That we could do it, on a plane. It'd be faster. But I don't know if there's a lot of money to be made in there, which is why maybe you don't do it. But we will see. Did that not? No, it's out of a. Please add an error state if there is no data loading. You definitely check the is error up here as well, but pretty much if there isn't is loading, if there isn't data after it is loading, that should mean that need you to come from icons. Did I not add an alert? I did not add an alert. Now we can do this. We can add an alert. I think we added a command here for adding Shadson components. Should be npm run add. We need components. See if this works. We want alert. Oh, oops. Now this should have alert. Nice. See, that's a really nice skeleton. We have our test case here. Add a test case. We're also going to want to generate test cases, generate prompts, do all that for you. Which will be this afternoon's problem. Okay, I think this is looking pretty good. Now we should probably save this and save this and work on adding a new version to this. Okay, I like it. Save our progress. And sweet. All right, next on the docket is Did that not? Hmm. This is the one thing I don't like. I always forget to accept. And then it deletes my progress, basically. Okay. All right. Now we can start over. We want to add a new version. Now let's try to open all of our, try to help it out a little bit and open all of the things that it needs to do. You know what? We're not going to do that. We're using AI tools. We want to would now like the user to be able to create new version of the prompt. In creating a new version, should copy the content of the old version once saved. The new version should no longer be able to be edited. Sure. Let's try it. See what it comes up with. Definitely found all the right places, I think. We have a create new version here. What is that going to do? Put it in a dialog. Move the dialog to a separate component. You will fix the imports real quick. Create a new version. That's in the current content. We like that. What are you upset about? Let's go to this guy. So it's not returning, but I don't think we need to return the version. We're already ordering. Just to select probably. Or we could add, let's go to our schema. We haven't added any relationships yet. Let's do that. Not version relations. Except there should be one. The API looks like for this. What do we pass into one here? We want version. Oh. There we go. And then we should have that here. There we go. Okay. Now we should be with versions. We only want the latest version. I think we just want to return the version number. Now that should do what we want it to do. Let's try it. We're definitely want to make this bigger. Please make the input in the comments structure. See? I don't know if this is just me or this is something that everybody deals with. All right, again. Put in the comments structure. Now, what else do we want to do? We should probably list the keys. Please list in both in That looks good to me. We're going to change the copy a little bit. Like I said, we'll come back and add this, update this a little bit. Are we setting a width anywhere in here? Let's do that. See the width. The there we go. That's better. Like I said, we'll come back and add something. I think we'll have to replace this text area with a editable div, but we will do that, and then that way we can like highlight whenever you have a valid input parameter. Is that actually creating a version? It did. Nice. I have two versions. Let's create a new one. Version 3. Now we're going to add a loading state. A loading state to the mobile and creating a new version. Load mobile after creating version. Interesting. So it's not updating. It's not sending the most recent one to here. Where are the currently selected ones here? But let's try just the loading state. That looks good. Looks good. So that's working. Let's try to copy some of these test cases. New one. Copy these again. Let's add some models. We'll also see if this updates for the models. The selected models. Okay, we'll need to refactor this too. This selected model thing is per prompt version, and now that also needs to be refactored to the prompt itself. That looks good. Button to the right side of the submit button. Again. What if I just reset this? Okay. I think it just loses connection to this chat. that work? I did. Nice. Okay, well, now we're good. Edit new prompt version. All right, now another refactoring challenge. Worked really good the last time, so we're going to try it again. I need to do a refactor. Please move the selected from the prompt version to the prompt. Run that over the whole code base. Let's see how far it gets. Enabled models and moved it from the version to the prompt. Good. We should put this, wrap this in a dialogue. Whatever we can. I think that should do that. Wow, we got our error state. Okay, that looks pretty good. That's going to error because we need to update our database, which is fine. That looks good. All right, let's go update our database. Accept all these, close that. We should probably add a default. Let's add a default. Schema. Try this again. I like the skeleton loading thing. Pretty good. We should probably load these test cases in the same way. We could move these to server components as well. That might speed things along. But now we should save these between versions. Now we need to update what's happening down here. So let's go handle these. We've selected this to right. We want that page, we want this page. So we are sending to our test case table. We have our current version. Enable models. I wonder if our current version is just not being set properly, because that's probably what would cause the, let's see. Let's just log this, see what happens. Version 2, version 3. But I feel like that should be causing these to re-render, but it's not. which is interesting. So also, like this should pull from the latest version, but it's not. We also need to go remove those logs. So we must know that the current version is working correctly. But like this isn't re-rendering, which is surprising. It might just be a that it's a yeah, we're passing the default value. And really we should pass the values. And that will cause there we go. Okay, so that should solve that problem. There we go. Now version 3. Version 3. Nice. Okay. Next is we want to why our evaluations are not fully correct. This has evaluation. Let's go back to our table here. I bet it's this. Yeah, that's definitely it. So we want to go back to get by prompts. Here, this is where we need to go. I guess we should probably just return all the evaluations for this. There's no point not to. So let's add that here. We'll make that a new domain. Or is it a domain? I feel like it is, because we're gonna want to connect that to scores, because we're gonna have many scores in the future potentially. So we would be evaluation. Score. There we go. Score times info. What does that look like for our schema? Let's pull that up. We have a test case ID. Model output. Good. Okay, I think that's all we need for there. Now we go to server. Get I don't want to pass in. I need you. I don't want to return this results. Where is our test case? We use this as an example. Sometimes I don't understand why it just hits the bed sometimes on imports. I don't understand. Where is that? Get all for a certain. I guess this is an individual one. Fine. Say get by test case. I guess what do we want to really do? So we want to, instead of our test cases, which here instead of has evaluation, we probably want to map this by, probably wants to be a record of version, model, output, or evaluation. Probably the best way to do that. Right now we're doing there, yeah, so the dot record of integer number version model evaluation. Now this should be evaluation.info. So for this get by test case, I think we can just pass the test case. Call this. I think we just return evaluations, right? We need to add a type here. Okay. Now, should this be used transaction? Because I don't think, are we ever going to get all of these? Slash, I know we talked about private versus public functions for like the create versus use transaction, but I still think, let's take one more look at this. In my head, because it's going to call use, and use should throw an error or return error if there is not context. That means if there is context, it should just call the callback using the existing transaction. And if not, it should create a new one. Whereas use transaction, if there is an existing one, it just uses it. And if there's not, then it just executes the database transaction on its own, or the query on its own. So let's try to update this guy. Okay, so now we want to map this probably. That's going to cause like a promise.all. Let's just say, let's just delete all this and see what happens. Get evaluations from repo for each case. Why is this yelling at me? Object is possibly undefined. Undefined. Error. See what happens. Okay, we know this is defined because we're doing it here. Wish TypeScript is smart enough to do that. It's not. There we go. Is that going to work? It's a problem now. No, we need to actually turn this. Are we happy now? Why are we not happy? Oh, because it's throwing an error here. Okay, we're going to make this internal. And we're not going to return a result. We're just going to straight up let it throw an error. We're going to use here. Oop, don't need any of this stuff anymore. There we go. Keep hitting tab till it works. Everybody happy now? Nice. Okay, now the front is probably upset, so let's go fix that. I feel like you should be smart enough to know that this is what we want. There we go. Okay, now what is this has evaluation? We just want there should be a record of model to evaluation. But it's only a single. It's really partial. I think so. Yeah, it should update with. Why are you not updating? You should work. Let's see. Test cases by prompts. Valuations. We have valuations for 1 and for 4. So that looks good. What's our for our give by prompt here? Should have our just our prompts.get. I mean our enabled models here should be, yeah. Why aren't we updating this? I don't think we need this anymore, right? Let's look. For each test case, let's see what that's logging. Hmm. Undefined. You have one. And we have our models here. Are we not mapping these to the right keys? And that looks right. Go click on those to see. Oh, created. Why are we not getting them in here? These all undefined is what I want to know. Oh, it's because these are I'm passing in the version. We want to pass in the version. There we go. And we're in business. Okay. Nice. Now if we swap. Yeah. There we go. Nice. And we probably want to make this like extendable so you can just. Huh. Why our product info didn't save? Or is not showing? Or recipient info? Okay, we'll have to go back and check that. I don't know if that's just a weird bug that we ran into or we screwed something up. But at least we are running. Okay, we can get rid of all these logs. Memory console logging things that we should not be. Don't need you anymore. You anymore. You anymore. We'll keep logging the results here just while we're here. Okay. Now, with test cases. Nice. All right, we've been going for an hour and a half. Nice, and I feel like we got a lot of stuff done. The core product is coming along nicely. The only thing that's really missing now is the ability to run a bunch of stuff in parallel. Like just hit run all remaining. Generate test cases, generate prompts. I feel like generating test cases is going to be easier than generating prompts, but we will test that out. Then we need to add authentication and payments and comparisons. Comparison is going to be the hard part. That's like the only MVP thing that we have left in terms of actual functionality, which is going to be the trickiest. I've been thinking a long time about this, but we can try. I'm also going to want to get some feedback on sending like few shot examples because I don't know if this interface is going to work very well for that. If you're just shoving a ton of data into these like text boxes here. Um, but we shall see about that. I feel like if you're mostly just copy and pasting them, it's not a huge deal, but maybe on the comparison side of things, it's bad. I don't know. We will find that out. Okay, let's do one more thing before we break. Let's add, I want to add a collapsible thing to each line here to actually show the outputs of these evaluations. So let's try that. Our control panel. Okay. Now, would like to make each row in the test case table would you add a collapsible section and in open shows all of the outputs of the available type that relations for that test case. Just give that a whole code base thing and see what it comes up with. I'm pretty sure they limit, because you can also use the chat thing, which is the side that's kind of like chat GPT interface, and then you can just immediately apply. But you have to like hit apply before those actually apply. And so it's not as good as this, but I feel like they by default just shove a lot more context into that. I'm not sure why. I don't see why you couldn't just do that same thing, but this in this interface. But let's see what it comes up with. You can also go to the V0 and try to ask it for comparison interfaces. We'll do that while this is lit. V0. All right. Start a new chat. And app to pair. I'll just say I need an interface for pairing the AI model prompts and outputs. Should be able to compare against multiple versions of the same prompt or multiple using the same prompt version against multiple models. I should also be able to see the prompt version input parameters output content and model when comparing results. See what this comes up with. I do like that this just defaults to using React, since that's what pretty much all of our stuff is based on. Just makes things a lot easier. Are you still generating? Yeah. Not sure how much I like that. I feel like a table would be better, but I don't know. Tables are pretty constraining. Let's see what happens. I like the card result. And you give me another potential. Now it's going to give us a table one. See, this would have taken me hours to actually generate, which is super nice. One, two. I do like this that you can like select which models you want to do, like add to the comparison. I think I like that idea. And then you can like order by model, you can order by version. I like this. I like this a lot. Okay. See, this isn't like the final output, but just in terms of an idea, super helpful. All right, let's go back here. Let's see what this actually looks like. How does one toggle? Interesting. Okay. This is a pretty good interface. So what does this look like for something like this? I like this. That's pretty good. Just an easy, quick and easy. Then we'll add like a tab here for like prompting and then comparisons. Um, Also scoring. Maybe we add like a score here or a link to like a specific evaluation where you can add a score. Nice. Okay. I like this. Let's go. Use the trigger for opening toggle to the evaluations column. Nice. they show hide label to the trigger. Just so people can find this. Now, these just it's just along the right line. To the right side of the column. With these be nice and up and down. Nice. We'll have to come back and add the styling to these to like make these a little bit bigger, make these a little smaller. But now, pretty good. Pretty good. All right. Now, one thing collapsible here. What if we move the row into let's accept all of this. The table row into its own component and it manage its own lapse state and mutations. Keep the new component in the same file as the big. Going, it's chugging. So after using Claude for a little bit for some like internal stuff, I have no idea how Cursor is making money unless they have some really, really good deal for managing costs of like how much stuff they're just passing along to Claude. Because you can see here, this is using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is not like a super cheap model, not like a mini model. And we try to use it for some like bulk job work, and it becomes expensive fairly quickly. Okay, what are we at now? Okay, like test case row. What's mad down here? Hmm. Why is this? Okay, we'll just accept this and see what happens. No. Where are you coming from? Test case. Ah, it should be. Okay. Hmm. We could decide this in the string. Give it a default. Then it won't yell at me. We just do this. Now is everybody happy? Now we don't need to. Right, aligned. We're not gonna do that. We have it now. Cool. Sure this is still working. That should be much cleaner. Yep. Now we want to default this to the latest version, but I don't want to. I have to figure out the best way to do that. We're gonna have to like use some server component magic because I don't. The way you'd have to do it is you have to load the model. Where's our version? We need to go to the page here. We're handling the version at the same level as this. And what you'd have to do is like load it on the server side, which we could definitely do. And then update it. Otherwise, you have to like use effect and change on this data changing, which you don't really want to do because you're needing that some wonky stuff. So minor improvement we'll have to add. We could try to see what Claude's going to come up with. On page, set the version to the latest version. Probably change that to active, but see what this does. It does some use effect stuff. Yeah, yep. The problem is that like whenever we revalidate stuff, it's going to change. Let's see if we can trigger that. We set it to 2, right? And we add this, boom, it's back there. That's what I didn't want it to do. So we'd have to refactor this a little bit. That's the one downside of you still kind of have to know what you're doing to at least make something anything more complex than the just kind of like toy or a game. I think eventually it will get there. It will get smart enough to say, hey, okay, this is what I want it to do, but the like model doesn't understand reactive stuff. It just understands patterns of like what other people do, and other people use that stupid use effect thing all the time, uh, which is bad, or at least it's not good. Uh, all right, what do I want to do now? Kind of want to add authentication with, see if I can just like tell it we want to use next auth with an email provider. I don't know, probably maybe Google. But then you have to get some like API key for our Google thing. Versus emails, we can just send through Amazon. So emails are kind of annoying because then you need like a callback for anyway. Let's just try it. Would like to add authentication to my app using next auth. Please add all needed database tables, API routes, and a login page. That's you. No, that's pretty cool. This like big stuff that everybody does all the time, like adding authentication routes. Is that done already? Holy crap, that was fast. Okay, what have we done here? Just accept this. Reload. Second move you. There we go. And we're gonna need to put this somewhere. All right, what else have we changed here? So we added the login page. We added dashboard layout, which is a server-side session. We like that. Boom. We added the route. I used the GitHub provider. We could probably use GitHub. I like that. Let's use GitHub. Probably have to add some other ones too, but that's fine. Do we slap this in a new? I think we do probably. Or do we put it in our core thing? No, because I don't really want to put this logic in here. Just need to change this to be always. There we go. Did add it to the tier of demand. I'm impressed. Honestly, that's pretty freaking good. We're gonna move this to a separate library though. Let's create a new library called auth. The only problem is, are we gonna need the authorized user inside of the core library? Because we're gonna have to import the database, trying to avoid a circular dependency here. We're gonna have to call get server side session for that, or are we just gonna pass? See, I'm not sure if we can use the same context provider thing. I've seen people do it before, but I'm still on the fence about it. Meaning pass the current user as part of the context. That might work for, I know they do it in terminal. Let's go look at this. So packages for user. Actor, this is what they call it. So you can see they have like an actor context here. But I don't understand this well enough, is what I'm gonna say. Is like whenever they set this, which probably it's set in their API the layer, but this is only like a backend thing, so they're just using yeah, like an API key. So I'm not sure. I'm worried that like this context is gonna run over between requests, right? That like it doesn't get set, or there's gonna be some kind of race condition, and maybe in serverless where like every time you make a query, it spins up a new function, um, and like the contexts are independent. But I'm not sure. I just don't understand this well enough, the like ins and outs and the foot guns and that kind of stuff. Um, hmm. Maybe we go investigate. We can do that. Let's go to our context. Or user context in API. Okay. So it's inside of an async call loop. So maybe that's how it stops it from going between different function calls. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't understand how that works. Only within the same async flow. So yeah, you have your request, your backend call, your response. Interesting. Wow, that's really cool. I had no idea that's how that worked. Yeah, so you can see here, this is kind of how I expected this to work, where each thread may have like multiple requests coming through it at the same time. Um, Whereas I didn't know it was like scoped to a single context. Interesting. Yeah, so this is what I was worried about, is that whenever you make a new request, it's going to override the context of the previous request, even if the previous request is still happening. Propagating context to the current async operation throughout the call chain Yeah, okay. So we're going to use a user context. It's only slightly performative hit, but not bad at all. All right, let's add some user context. In that case, we can make auth separate. I believe that's what we're going with, because in our auth layer in our API, we're just going to set the context of the user. So we are going to add auth. Let's check. So we, minus our like 10 minutes of research, we're on somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour 50 of streaming here. So let's see how fast we can actually do this auth. We're going to copy and paste this stuff over. New auth. Don't think we need any of gRPC stuff. We'll keep those. We'll keep the React stuff because we may add our like throw emails in here. So it doesn't hurt to do that. All right, now. And I guess we're probably going to put our API handler in here too. Components. Oh, and I guess we need our session provider. Move that here. Let's add an import alias first. Thank you. Rename you to. Should put this in my cursor rules whenever it creates components, make them lowercase. Need adapters. Maybe the latest. No. It doesn't. There is no 5. But good try. I don't think this even exists. What else do I need to move? We'll export those providers. We need a drizzle adapter. This is what we need. So we should add also a index where we export stuff we're gonna need. We should probably also add a server. So stuff we're gonna need here. This. You need this. I also need sign in. Do. We're not going to make this a global input. We're just going to do auth and auth server. And from here, we can also export. No, export. All right. Boom, bang, bang, boom. You're good. We should just yoink all this into our server. Fix that in a second. Come back here. Boom. Okay, what are you mad about? Trying to have a user, an ID from a user. You have an ID. Why are you mad? This is like intentionally omitting. I don't know why you're mad. I think it's probably just a mismatch typed thing, probably. If I was gonna guess. I don't know, we'll run with it, see what happens. We are gonna have to set our GitHub stuff here. So let's go look for that. Okay, where do I get my create a new app? Create an app. All right, we'll just give you GitHub then. See if we can find it from here. Where do I go to do that? That's what I would like to say. There we go. Wow, that was hard to find. app name Weaver. We don't have a website yet. I guess we should do that. Well, hopefully nobody skips this. Interesting. So the weird thing about this is it'd be better to do this actually as like a separate URL because I don't think NextAuth or I don't think SST creates a publicly accessible. If we go anyway, I don't think it makes like a publicly accessible callback URL, which it does if you're creating just like a function. Interesting. They didn't have GitHub. Here we go. Okay, well, we'll just send it and see what happens. All right, I will be right back. Have to generate a secret and some other stuff. That's right. We have set to our secrets so we can access them. Bing, bang, boom. Now that should provision those and link them to our apps that we already have. Nice. Okay, what else are we working with here? Okay, that should be good. You should be good. About one here, routes should be good. Layout should kick you out if you're not logged in. Secrets good. We're gonna have to go actually push these off tables. Oh, we need to add these to our EMV here. Oh, we also need our next secret in our URL. So this should probably be we will need to add a secret here, so I'll do that as well. A quick tip, I'll update this later so nobody jacks my thing, but if you want to do add a secret, the one, like just a random one, I like to use OpenSSL, which I think is on pretty much every computer, or at least Linux, probably also Mac. You just do OpenSSL rand and then base 6432, boom, you got a secret. I will SST shell. Let's set secret set secret. Now go back and add that to our secrets. And that should get provisioned. Oh, except I spelled it wrong. We want that. All right, and then we do need to add our environment variable for our URL, which we can do in our infra environment. Now we want to do probably make this like it is local. So we want our next auth URL to be, we probably want like a is deployed. I don't remember how they do this. Let's go look at the terminal. They do this. They have this nice utility for this, I think. What do they call it? Is permanent stage. That's what we want. There we go. Let's go back to here. I know this later. And I'm pretty sure they have the good thing for domains as well, DNS. There we go. I like this. This is going to be and then this is just going to be localhost. I don't understand. Ready, running. Oh, it's already done that. It's an iffy. Kind of. Let's see if that works. Now our environment should be all set. And we can push our database changes. Did I do this wrong? You know what? It's because we're only setting that environment variable there. Can we set that for our stage? You know what? We can just default it. How about that? That works too. That might trip me up in the future, but that's okay. That should work. Everybody happy here? All right. Does not look like it linked it. This happens occasionally. If we go back to secrets, GitHub ID, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta unlink and then relink. Are we doing on time? Still less than 30 minutes. Most of that was trying to figure out how to actually set up a GitHub app. Try this again. Really? Okay. Am I not? Am I missing something? Right? You should be there. You're there. We're linking you here. We haven't really deployed anything else. You just need to restart the next tab. I'll try that in a sec. Relink you. We will kill. Restart. Try it again. There we go. Nice. All right, we will have to clean up this login, but did it not create the right API? Hmm. Is it because it's on localhost? It is. Um, did I put HTTPS localhost in there somewhere? Is that my fault? Your HTTP. Do I need to? I probably need to put it in my environment here. Which probably how that should go. Let's kill you and forget again. There we go. Okay. It did something. Yeah, put the wrong values in here. Wait, don't look at this. I will create a new one later. But that's what I need to do. Uh, restart this though. See if that worked. Get on that. Must be called with callback URL. Okay, we're making progress. I bet we can set up the callback URL to localhost. What is my callback URL? Callback URL. Okay. Callback. That's what I want. Where are we? There we go. Let's try this now. All right. Try signing in with a different account. Relation account does not exist. Did I not add relations to my database? Any of the relations? Did I not push these? All right, let's go look for Saas visual adapter. What do we actually need to put in there? Okay. It was close, but I don't think it actually got there. We'll update the type later. I can fix this. Doesn't look like it. Come back to that. All right. Let's just drop all these and start over. Hoping for something more dramatic than that. Okay. Try this again. Hmm. error are you giving me? It's supposed to be the easy way to do this. Is it because I don't have a existing account? Is that probably why? Which I guess is probably good, but I'm still getting this error here, I think. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. This gonna work. Looks promising. Am I logged in? Nope. Okay, different error. That's good thing to have. Invalid compact. JW. Mm. This is from, I bet I can find this in one of my old repos. Let me go look for that real quick. This is something that like the Create T3 app stuff sets up for you, which is nice. Let's go to this is what I want. So copy all this stuff into here. And pass. And then we want server-side session. Like that. Now, I think that should work. Okay, I think we're logged in successfully. Handlers. Where are we doing that at? I bet it's in here. I need to make this a client component, which is easy enough. We'll just get rid of it for now. Clear this to get my email. That would be good. I am getting some weirdness in our API layer, so let's go check that. There we go. And we need you. Oh. Okay. We have auth. It's not doing anything, but we have it. Do need to figure out what this is, but we'll just hide this for now. Okay. Add auth. Oh. We'll call that in the neighborhood of 30 minutes. Not too bad. I feel like Christian did the hard work for us and set up all the boilerplate, which is really nice. What else do we want to add? I guess we can set up the user context, so let's do that. We will use this as an example. Straight up copy them and call it an actor. Why not? One other thing I want to add real quick that I think is cool is we're going to add some dev stuff that just runs whenever our we run SST dev. And we're going to do go to new SST command dev command Oh. Uh, for the studio, and we're going to auto start for two. That. So what this is going to do is basically just add something, another option to our multiplexer here to run this command, this dev command, whenever we start. So you can see it popped up here. Oh, we need to add it. We need to give it the secrets. Boom. Let that deploy. Restart it. And now our Drizzle Studio, if we go to here, should show us all of our database stuff, which is nice. So our user, this is our user model. We're gonna have to configure GitHub to give us an email here. And we have an avatar or an image. That would be nice to add. So we can use that for our user model for our context. I don't think we're going to have any public actors, so we'll come back and add that later if we need to. But core. And shamelessly copy this. I don't think we really care about that. We'll come back and add like team-based stuff because that's another thing that we're going to want to add probably, but for MVP, I don't think we need that. For context. Going to use actor. We're going to want to use this as an example here. Here's this is why they have the public actor, which fine, we'll add. Why not? Should return Nice. I think that's all we need. Now, where do they set the actor is the thing. So insert actor. I should probably make a create actor. I'm surprised they don't have that in here. What does their API layer look like for this? Use user ID. Do they have a middleware somewhere in here? I feel like they must. There we go. Okay, they're setting it here. That's what they're doing. Okay, let's go back to our I wish GitHub was smart enough to understand this kind of import here. We have this actor context. All right, we'll just copy this part. So we want to go to our TOPC config. And we will set why does this user not have an ID? It seems strange. I know there's a way that you can like override the session props. I think I did in some other one. Yeah, I did. Okay, we'll go do that as well, I guess. be happy now in here. Should probably prettify that, but just to make it nicer on myself. Where should I put this in my utils? There we go. Nice. I'm not sure what. Interesting. Okay. So this callback runs a function synchronously within a context and turns it. Hmm. I think that's what we want. Let's just go to this real quick and try it. All right, let's try it. Nice. I wonder why this happens twice though. That's concerning. I feel like it's gonna yell at me. Yeah. Like this next is getting called twice, and I'm not sure why. Why are you being called twice? I don't understand. Is it because there's a redirect happening? I'm confused about this. Because it must be calling this. Why is it calling it twice? It's not even adding this at all. It is only calling it once now, which is good with the right information. I'm not really using this in the context because we're just going to use that. So I don't think we need to actually do this. So I think we can just call next this and just return that. Okay, we also need to set the secret as that. So let's go to that. That. Okay, I think we're good. Really good auth in like under an hour. Pretty happy with that. Now we can use this use actor anywhere we want to. It's very handy. And we will do that next time. All right. I think that's going to do it for this session. I'm going to try to get one more in tonight and add the comparisons, add the, what else am I doing? Probably adding the, like associating prompts and everything with a person or with an actor, user, whatever. And payments. I think that's like the big three things left in scoring. So maybe we won't get it all done tonight. I think one more day of work, and I think we could probably launch this thing. I'm not too worried about the landing page. That's easy to set up. We'll just slap that into V0. I've already tested that a few times. Yeah, I think we're good to go.